number. And then what you can do is take that number and have one line of blue tape start, you know, kind of long piece of tape start, and then measure from the outside edge of the blue tape to the other outside edge of the blue tape the number that it'll give you. When you step on the tape, I would like to have your middle toe kind of in the middle of that blue tape, okay? And what I've done is I've done the diagonals because sometimes when I first started, I was very directionally challenged. I did not know what 45 degrees was. Actually, what I thought 45 degrees was basically here, which really is 45 degrees is here. So, so my husband, the genius that he is, he made a square, and in that square he made X's, so that if I put my foot in the middle of that square and I turned my foot, I would know the line for the 45 degree, okay? So you can do this in the comfort of your own home. When we drew these lines, what Michael did was he took the straight blue line, and then at 2 feet, 24 inches would be the 45 degree angle.
What's going on?
Who's Lynn?
Why are we seeing that screen
Lynn,
though?
please
Who's
stop
Lynn?
the screen. I stopped her. Okay.
Okay. All right, so we're good?
Yes.
Okay, all right, good. So what I'd like for you to do, can everybody see my feet okay?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. So I'd like you to stand with your feet shoulders width apart. Now, what does shoulders width apart means? It means that the outside edge of the foot matches the outside edge of your shoulders, okay? So what I want you to think about your footwork is this is the foundation for your house. The house meaning everything that's above your feet, okay? So if you think of when you build a house and you lay the foundation out, and we're about ready to have the outside walls put up, what they do is they put the outside wall to match the outside edge of the foundation, okay? So that's gonna be our feet. All right, so from here, I'd like for you to just kind of relax your body a little bit and make sure that your knees are not locked. So we always have a little bend in our knees, a natural bend, okay? So I don't want you to be like this, just naturally bend your knees, okay? So being your mirror image, this will be my left, this will be your right, okay? So what I'd like for you to do is, I'd like you to slightly shift your weight to the left, okay? So what we're doing is we're shifting our weight so that we could take weight off of the right foot, so that we're gonna use the heel of the right foot, and we're gonna pivot, and we're gonna open 45 degrees, okay? Make sure you're not going too far, 90 degrees, or that you're too little. We want to be just right, okay? So then I want you to shift your weight over to the right side, and I want you to sit. Sit means I want you to imagine almost trying to sit in a chair, and both knees will bend. And the left heel will come off the floor, but the ball of your foot will be on the floor. All right. Now, with the weight on the right side, I'd like you to peel the ball off the floor, and I would like for you to extend your heel out right in front of where it was, okay? So if we bring it back and we step right in front of where it was. So you should, I don't want you to assign too much weight to it in the beginning. I want you to just be able to pick up this foot and extend your heel. Now, oftentimes what some people do is they will, when they step out, you'll bring your foot in. And I need for you to be careful about that, because we need to ensure that we still remain at shoulders width apart. So if you notice your foot, just step right in front of where it was, okay? And the other problem that we have sometimes is people, when they step, they will assign weight. So you'll step like this, and already you have weight on the front foot. So I don't want you to do that. What I'd like you to imagine is that we're now all on a big slab of ice. So we're on this big slab of ice, and when we step out, we need to make sure that it's safe. So without assigning weight to it, we step out and let your body, let your leg tell you how far forward or how far forward in length you can step, okay? Then using your foot, I would like for you to go heel, ball, toe. We're slowly moving forward. Now we're noticing, okay, the ice seems kind of safe. So now we're gonna move our weight forward and we're gonna bend the knee and we're gonna stop, all right? So when you look down at your foot, you should be able to see all of your toes. Okay, so I'm gonna turn to the side. I've got this little handy dandy walking stick here. What we want is, we want the knee to be straight above the ball of the foot. So I want your knee behind your toes. I don't want your knees to go behind the toes. This is overextending ourselves too much. We already do that too much in our lives as it is. So when it comes to Tai Chi, Tai Chi wants us to be supported, our footwork to be supported. So have your knee line up with the crease of your toes, the beginning part of your toes, okay? So like here, okay? All right, anybody have any questions on this? No? Any questions?
No.
Okay, all right, let's do that again. So with feet, shoulders width apart, make sure the outside edge of your foot matches the outside edge of your shoe. Turning the hips, open your right foot 45 degrees. Okay, in order for the foot to turn,
Nancy, hang on one moment. I think I have,
A little too much, Samara. No,
just speak
your
for me
right
to make
foot.
sure that you're not muted.
okay.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I'm sorry.
All right, very good. Okay, so feet, shoulders width apart. I'd like you to shift slightly to the left. We are using our hips to turn our right foot. So turning the hip, pivoting on the hip, and when you do that, make sure that your left knee is still in line with your left foot. So what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to turn and then have your knee turn in. See how it's no longer in line with my foot? I need for you to make sure that your
Okay.
left knee follows and stays in line with the left foot while the right. Oh,
Evie, can you mute everybody?
I'm trying. I'm sorry. I have to do it without muting. She's muted now. Hang on a second. Let me get her unmuted. I've lost track of Nancy. There's so many people here. I've just got to find Nancy now. That's the problem with her not being a co-host. I'm really sorry, Nancy.
it's okay.
I unmuted it. Go.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
thank you. All right. So if you can take that, if you can make sure she gets unmuted when I mute everybody, then we're good. I'm losing you. Okay, thanks.
Okay. All right. So let's go over this again. I want you to shift your weight slightly to the left. Turning your hip, pivot on the right heel so that now your right foot points 45 degrees. When you do this, I need you to make sure that you do not take your left knee with you. See how it's no longer in line? I need for you to make sure that your left knee, when you turn your hip, stays in line with the left foot, okay? Now, as you shift your weight over, we're going to sit, okay? That means both knees are bent now. I have the majority of my weight on the left leg, but I don't have all the weight on my left leg. So I want you to think of your torso as sitting still in the middle, okay? Then I'd like you to peel the ball of your foot off the floor and then stepping out with the heel edge right in front of where it was, the heel edge. Then moving the weight forward, heel, ball, toe, bending the front knee. And make sure that when you look straight down, you should be able to see all of your toes, okay? Now, this is called a bow stance. The requirements of a bow stance is the front foot will always point straight forward. The back foot will always be 45 degrees. When you shift your weight back, your back knee should be in line with your back foot. When you shift your weight forward, the front knee will be in line with the front foot. The front knee's bent, the back knee, the back leg is straight, but straight also includes a bend, okay? So I don't want your knees locked at any time. So we have just a little natural soft bend in it, okay? 60% weight here, 40% weight here, and your hips will now follow your back foot direction, okay? So if you stay in this position and you put your hands on your hips, they should be going at a diagonal, all right? And if you shift your weight back, then the hips will kind of start to square forward a little bit, knee in line with the foot. Shifting the weight forward, the hips will kind of turn a little bit, and now they're back at a diagonal direction. Staying in this position, if you hold your hips and start turning your hips straight forward, you're going to notice something going on with your right knee. It's twisting a little bit. So Tai Chi is all about correct body alignment, correct body posture. So I need for you to make sure that the hip stays open diagonally. We're going to use what the Chinese call the quad, or the hip joints, to make sure that the hip joints stay open. And so this is where we want to be. Front knee bent, back leg straight, front foot straight, back foot always 45 degrees, 60% forward, 40% in the back. Knees will always follow your feet. So if you bend both knees should be following the respective foot, okay? All right? Okay, so let's try that again. This is called a bow stance. It's also known as an archer stance. These are all martial arts pretty much use the bow stance, okay? All right, so shift slightly to the left, using the hips, pivot on the right heel 45 degrees. Shift your weight to the right, bend both knees, sit. Peel your left foot off the floor with the ball, touch with the heel edge. Move weight forward, heel, ball, toe. Hip now going in a diagonal direction. Knee follows foot, 60% forward here, 40% in the back here. Knees don't go, stay behind the toes, okay? All right, now when you shift your weight back, what I want you to feel is pushing from the front foot. And as you push from the front foot, I want you to feel pushing forward with the back foot, okay? The Chinese call this dung and chunk. And what that means is to both feet are supporting each other. What this is going to do is it's going to give us a controlled shift. So in the back, when I push forward, and I feel now that my foot is kind of on the floor, kind of pushing into the floor a little bit, I want to start pushing back with the front foot to give it a more controlled shift and move weight forward, okay? If I didn't have this, I can basically flop here and kind of flop here. So in Tai Chi, what we want to do is we want both feet to support each other as we move weight forward, pushing back, pushing forward slightly with the back leg, forward and back, forward and back. Okay? All right. Anybody have any questions on this? Okay, so let me do this sideways so that you can see me here, okay? If I start here and if I shift my weight to the left, oh no, I'm gonna go to the right, okay. Turn, open my right foot to the corner, shift my weight, sit, step out right in front of where I was with my heel edge, moving my weight slowly forward, heel, ball, toe, bending the knee. Can you see the position of my knee in respect to my foot? So don't go here. Here is just fine. If you want to be here, this is okay. You know, this kind of will depend upon your leg strength a little bit. So this is the position we want to be. Front foot straight, back foot 45 degrees, 60% here, 40% here, knees in line with feet. Okay? How are we doing? Yes? Anybody have any questions? So this is called a bow stance, B-O-W, bow stance or an archer stance. Okay? No questions? All right, now we're going to go into the second stage. Second stage is what we use is called an empty stance. All right. Some people think empty means totally empty. But if you think of yin and yang is always going from one to the other. So empty includes a full includes a little bit of empty. So it's never really totally empty. Okay. Now the requirements for an empty stance, if I use okay, I'll use my this leg. Okay. So if I put my foot on the edge of that tape and I shift my weight over to the right and I turn my foot and open it 45 degrees using my hips, shifting my weight over, bending the knees. Okay, so what are we going to do? We call this the center line, so we don't pass the center line. So I want you to bring your foot in. We're going to use the heel, peel off the floor, and I want you to step just on the other side of that line using your heel edge. Then I'd like you to move your weight all the way onto the heel and then stop before you start to get into the middle part of your foot, okay? All right, we'll try that again. And the requirements for this footwork for an empty stance is we're going to have the majority of the weight on the back leg. So I don't want us to do this too much because I don't want you waking up tomorrow and not being able to walk. So, you know, we're only going to do this a couple of times, and we'll switch legs so they get they both get to get the experience of the empty stance. Okay, so shift slightly to your right, turning with the left, opening the foot 45 degrees. Make sure you're using your hips. Shift your weight over, sit. Both knees are bent. Stepping out with the right heel, with the heel edge. Make sure you haven't crossed that line. If you look down, you should be able to see your other foot, the heel. Then moving your weight, roll onto your whole heel, and when the whole heel is on the floor, stop. So the front part of your foot should be off the floor. So it should look like this, where the front part of your foot, the top part of your foot is off the floor, but my whole heel is on the floor, okay? So just like a bow stance, the front foot will always point straight. The back foot will always be 45 degrees. Knees must follow the feet. And the only difference is weight distribution and the spacing, the width between our feet, okay? So the width between our feet, we say the center line, two sides. So make sure that you do not cross that center line. I don't want you too far away from that center line. I want you as close as possible to that center line without crossing that line, okay? Then the other difference also from a bow stance is bow stance has 70% of the weight in the forward leg, 40% in the back leg. Now we've got 70% in the back leg, 30% in the front leg. Okay, so let's try this with the other direction, okay? Shift your weight to your right. Turn your hips, open your left foot 45 degrees. Well, we kind of did this way, right? Shift your weight to the left, sit, step out using the heel edge, roll onto your edge so that you're all the way on the ball of the foot now, okay? And I want you to kind of stay there for a second. We have a question? No? Okay. All right, so now we'll try the other side. Shift your weight to the left. Turn to the right, open 45 degrees. Shift your weight to the right, sit. Pick up your left foot, peel off the floor, and touch with the heel edge, just on the other side of that line. Don't cross that line, okay? Then roll onto your heel and stop. Is the front part of your foot, top part of your foot off the floor? Okay, now what I'd like for you to do, because we have two types of empty stances. We have one using the heel and one using the ball of the foot. So I'd like for you to rock back. Now you're on your heel edge. Pick up your foot, put the ball of your foot on the floor. Then push the ball of your foot into the floor. Push it into the floor. You're going to notice that your knee's going to bend a little bit, okay? And this is how we transfer from one empty stance to the other. So move weight back, pick your foot up, put your heel on the floor, rock forward. Move weight back, pick up your foot, put the ball of the foot on the floor, press the ball of the foot into the floor. Okay, all right, good, and stop. Okay, so I'm gonna do this sideways so that you can kind of see what I'm doing. Okay, so if we shift to the left and turn to the right 45 degrees, shift to the right, sit, stepping out with the left heel, roll onto the heel, move weight back, pick up your foot, put the ball of your foot on the floor, press the ball of your foot into the floor. Now be careful here because I don't want you to look like this, okay? So move your weight back a little bit until you can really feel the ball of your foot on the floor. Your heel now will be off the floor. Move weight back, put your heel edge on the floor, move weight onto your whole heel. So we're rocking forward. We rock back, pick up your foot, put the ball of the foot on the floor, push into the floor. So notice how my knees bent a little bit? Rock back, put your heel edge on the floor, rock forward. And you're gonna notice using your heel, our knee is more straight, but straight is not locked. Straight still has a natural bend to it. Okay, so go ahead and stand up. How are your legs feeling? Anybody have any questions? It's pretty simple, right? No questions? Oh, this is great. Okay, all right, so let's go over the two stances, okay? We're gonna first go into the bow stance. All right, so feet, shoulders width apart. That means outside edge of our feet matches the outside edge of our shoulders, okay? Shift our weight to the left, turning to the right, using the hips, open 45 degrees. Make sure your knee still stays in line, your supported knee stays in line with its foot, okay? Move weight over, sit. Peel off the floor and touch with the heel edge. Move weight slowly forward, heel, ball, toe. Make sure your hips now turn diagonal. Foot, make sure you can see all of your toes. When you shift your weight back and start to square your hips, now your back knee should be in line with the back toe, back foot. Moving weight forward. Remember, we're going to have this pressure between our feet. As I push back, I'm going to push forward slightly with my back foot. Pushing forward with my back leg, pushing back slightly with my front leg, okay? Then, from here, shift your weight back. Open your left foot 45 degrees. Shift your weight forward. Okay, now the front knee's bent. Peel off the floor, heel, ball, toe. Step out with the left heel edge, shoulders width apart. Move weight forward, heel, ball, toe. Make sure that the hips are at a diagonal. Knee is behind the toes. 60% here, 40% here. Okay, I'm going to back up a little bit. Okay, then I want you to shift your weight back, open the right foot 45 degrees. We're going to go into an empty stance. We're going to move weight forward, peel off the floor, touch with the heel in front. One line, two sides, remember center line. Then move weight onto your heel. 70% of your weight in the back, 30% of your of the weight here in the forward. Is your front knee locked, or is there a slight natural bend? When you look down at your back leg, is your knee in line with your back foot? Move weight, pick up your foot, put the ball of your foot on the floor. Push the ball of your foot into the floor. Okay, still, now you have your knee bent here, 70% here. Move weight back, step out shoulders width apart, move weight forward. Back, opening 45 degrees. Shift our weight forward, knees bent, peel off the floor, heel, ball, toe. Stepping out with the left heel edge, move weight forward, heel, ball, toe, bending the knee, making sure that the hips, the quad stays open, knees in line with feet, and we'll stop here. Okay, how's that? How are we doing, everybody? Everybody okay? Yes?
Good.
Good? Okay, no questions?
You want them to unmute themselves now?
Yeah, they can.
So can you unmute everybody? Now you
I
can ask.
unmuted everybody.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good.
Good. I'm gonna mute everybody for a minute and then you can unmute yourselves, okay?
I'll put it.
Now everybody should be able to unmute themselves. Can you unmute Nancy?
So everybody, go ahead and unmute yourself.
If I talk, she can hear me.
It again.
Okay, are you gonna unmute Nancy when I mute everybody?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So you're unmuted.
Okay, go ahead, Pat. You had a question? Pat, go ahead and unmute yourself, and then you can ask your question.
I don't think I had a question. I can't do my video.
You can't do your video. You mean you're not seeing me on the screen?
You keep going. I have my darn cat is so excited about this that she keeps putting her paw on my keyboard. So God only knows what she's done.
Okay,
But-
so Pat, that totally sounds like a personal issue.
Yes, I have a few of those.
I think we all do. But okay, so your cat is touching your keyboard and then it messes up the video portion?
Yeah, like I don't. Yes, but it's okay because I could hear you and I was following along and I like this. All these little details.
Okay, all right, that's good. All right, so the good news is that we're going to try to record these sessions and then put them up on our website and on Facebook so that you will all be able to reference back to this if you need to. Also, on this Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm doing a Facebook Live video for my teacher. And I'm going to be going over footwork. It's going to be an hour long. So I'm going to be going over footwork and body shape. So you can come in there.
Rita says, you guys can use the chat and type in questions, and then somebody like me or Dee Dee can read the questions to Nancy.
Yes.
Ah,
I like the special effect.
I'm sorry?
I like the special effect of your dog barking.
Suzanne over here. I just want to say that it's really, really helpful to have the picky stuff, if you will. It's really helpful, but I had been thinking that I wish I could see it again later to practice, but you say you're going to be able to send it and that will happen, yes?
We plan to put it up on Facebook because I know that everyone has Facebook.
No, I don't.
What?
We'll be putting it on Facebook, and if you send us your email address, if I do not have your email address, send it to me and I'll be happy to send you the link via email. The email that you should use is info@yang, Y-A-N-G, Tai Chi, T-A-I-C-H-I, Seattle.com.
I'm sorry,
But-
did you do that one more time? Info@yang, what?
YangTaiChiSeattle.com.
I will type in the chat.
I'm typing it in the chat box. Okay, got it. Thank you.
But
Yeah.
also, if you send me your email, I will make a Facebook page for you. And
Oh, I've tried so hard not to do that for so many years.
Yeah, don't worry about that. As long as I have an email, then I'll be able to send you a copy of the link.
Thank you. Let me just make sure I've got this right. I'm putting it in chat. It's info@yangtaichiseattle.com, correct?
Correct. Yes. Mhm. Okay. Anything else, everybody? How's your leg feeling?
you should show them how to relax them like this.
Good.
Good? Okay. All right, so what are the requirements of a bow stance? Front foot points where? Straight.
Straight.
Back foot points where?
45 degrees.
45 degrees. Front leg has how much weight?
60%.
Back leg has?
40%.
Knees follow?
Your hips.
The foot. Direction of the foot.
Yes. Your knees follow your feet, and your hips follow what? Back direction.
Okay.
So if my back foot is at 45 degrees, my hips stay at 45 degrees. If I'm in a bow stance or if I'm in an empty stance, they all, will stay kind of open. Yeah? Okay, empty stance. Front foot points straight. Back foot 45 degrees. Weight distribution, up the back.
30.
In the back, 30% forward. Knees follow toes, feet, and we use what part of the feet? The ball,
Ball.
Heel.
And the heel.
and we know that when we shift back and forth. Okay, so let me say one other thing, because I've seen this happen before. Probably not by any of you, but I have seen it before. When you transition from one empty stance to the next, we shift our weight back, right? We shift back, pick up the foot, put the ball of the foot on the floor, and press into the floor. Okay, I don't do this. See how I cross my foot? You can stand here all day and do this, all right? Your back leg is not going to get the benefit. So you're doing this right. If when you do this, and you do this a couple of times, and your leg starts saying, excuse me, can you stop? Okay, so only do it a few times, and make sure you do both sides. And remember that in an empty stance, we are not crossing the center line. We are not crossing the center line. I don't want you too far away from the line. I want you like the blonde-haired girl. I want you just right. So I want you to just be on the other side of that. Okay? Any questions?
Yeah, we have a question from John Martinez.
Okay.
or Martine, I'm not quite sure. He says he's a bit confused about the transfer of weight and the pulling together of the feet to stabilize the hip. Could you review that again?
I don't understand the question.
John, can you turn on your audio and go ahead and ask it?
Yeah, my audio is on, and can you hear me, Nancy?
Yes.
Yes, and the question dealt with stabilizing the quad and keeping that open when you, in the bow stance, when you went from when you shifted your weight forward and back, and the action of your feet, do you pull one forward and one back, and which one are you pulling forward and back?
Pulling. Okay, what do you mean by pulling?
I mean, I guess, are you engaged? How are you engaging your feet when you're doing that
Okay.
to stabilize your quad? Does that make sense?
Well, let me do something and see if I'm in line with what it is that you're asking. Okay. So here I am in my bow stance. My hips follow my back foot direction, so they're at the diagonal. When I go to another bow stance, is that what you're talking
I
about?
think just shifting
Yeah.
back.
Okay. When I shift back and forth, my hips now are at a diagonal. When I shift back, my hips are going to start turning forward. See how they're going from diagonal to almost square to diagonal,
Yes.
almost square. Okay. Then here I can open my foot. My hip is going to turn a little bit. Need to make sure that this knee still follows this foot. And then when I shift my weight forward, now my hip is going to start following this diagonal direction. Then when I step out, then it's in this diagonal direction, and I move my weight forward. Does that answer your question?
A little bit. Yeah, I guess it did. I guess I maybe misinterpreted something.
Okay, so when we shift back and forth, I don't want you to shift back and forth like this. See how my hips are not moving? Okay, yeah. I need for you to do a little bit of a turn.
Okay, and that's what's stabilizing the core.
Yeah, well, it's keeping the torso centered because and it's keeping the knee in line with the foot. If you shift back like this, okay, it's easy to keep the knee in line, but when we sit back, the hips start to turn, the knee should now still be in line with the foot.
Okay.
Then a little bit more, and then move your weight forward, peel off the floor. Now my hips are going to start going the diagonal direction. Then they stay in the diagonal direction until I move my weight back.
Okay, thank you.
Yes?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
All right. Okay, good. Thank you for asking that question. That's a really good question because, you know, oftentimes when we're in this bow stance, sometimes people have their hips forward. And when you move your hips forward, you're going to feel a pulling here and a pulling in your knee. Okay? That means we're out of alignment. That means that we're not, aligning our body, aligning our bones, our muscles, to where they're kind of in a more natural state. So we need to make sure that the quad, the hip joints stay open so that we can, when we bend our knees, that we make sure that the knees still stay in line with the feet. This is very, very important because I don't want you putting any extra pressure on any of your joints in an unnatural way. Now, in the beginning, it may not feel so natural because, especially for women, we're not used to standing at this width. We're used to standing at this width, or maybe even this width. But this is something new for a lot of women. So, to oftentimes what happens is that when we then step, we will then bring our footwork in. So we have to get used to, in Tai Chi, making sure that we stay supporting our upper body through our feet. So if the feet are good, everything above it should have a good solid foundation. That means our feet. Okay, good. Anybody else have any questions?
There's a question asking if we'll be covering going backwards next week.
No. No, at this point in our life, we want to kind of take half step forward. We don't want to go, well, okay, so maybe we do want to go back to the way things used to be before we were all quarantined to our homes. I understand this. But in the second section, when we start to do a movement called Repulse the Monkey, then we will review going backwards. But until then, we're moving in a forward motion. Yeah. Good question, though.
I have a question. Chris has a question. It's hard to tell which way your hips are moving because your top is black.
Okay.
And so we can't see, or at least I can't tell which way your hips are going.
Okay. When I shift my weight to the left, when I turn to the right, my hips now are moving my foot. See how they're turning?
Yes, I do.
And they're going to turn either direction. So what moves the foot is the top of the hip. The hip moves it. Okay? So I don't want you to do this. Okay? Don't twist your hip joint by it straight forward and just turning your leg. Okay? I need you to do a whole body turn using your hips to make this a more natural turn, And when you do this, it's real important that you make sure that the supported leg, the supported knee doesn't turn with it. Okay, so see how this is out of alignment? Make sure that when you turn your hip, that your supported leg still, the knee is in line with the foot.
That's good. Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank you.
and also make sure that both feet are flat on the floor. When you finish your bow stance, both feet should be flat on the floor. I need for you to not pronate in. When you pronate in, you're going to notice more pressure on the inside of your foot. The outside part of your foot is going to kind of lift off the floor. And when you go the other direction, now you've got more pressure on the outside part of your foot. So the inside part of your foot is going to slightly come off the floor. Make sure your whole foot is on the floor. This is your base. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Did that answer your question, Chris?
Yes, it did.
Okay. Next time I'll try to wear different clothing so you guys can see better. All right. Any other questions? No? Okay. So we'll close class for today. I want to thank all of you for joining. Remember, if I do not have your email address, please feel free to email info@yangtaichiseattle.com. We'll add you to the mailing list for our Zoom classes, and I can send you out the notices to remind you of the class. Also, I can send you links to the video so that you can review at home. Okay? All right. So everybody have a good evening, and thank you for coming, and I look forward to seeing you next Monday. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Wash your hands. Stay safe.
Thank you, Nancy.
Bye.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Come see Mama. Come see Mama hoje. There she is.
Yay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 There's Bella. Hi, Bella.
Uh-oh.
How do you know?
Edie, can you unmute?
Bella.
Can you unmute your body?
Right.